Now, the Green Left's so-called independent MP Zali Steggall has made an astounding and disgraceful claim against her political opponent. She's also likened parents worried about girls being forced to play sport against biological males. She said that those parents might be running transphobic lines. Extraordinary. Let me start with the political claim. I can guarantee you that if a man said what Steggall said today, there would be outrage and claims of sexism. Let me explain. As you know, the battle for Warringah has really been heating up, with Steggall, the media, Labor and even some woke moderate Liberals getting into an almighty pile-on against the Liberal candidate Katherine Deves over some old social media posts and comments during her advocacy for girls and women in sport. She wants to protect girls and women from having to compete against biological men, trans women, in sporting competitions. Anyway, that pile-on continues, even though the former Prime Minister and former member for Warringah, Tony Abbott, came out in support of Deves on the weekend, as well as the current Prime Minister.
Where you're going into public life, which Katherine is seeking to do. A woman, strong woman, standing up for things that she believes in about women and girls in sport, which I know is a very sensitive issue in so many communities, but it has to be done respectfully, out of respect for the human dignity of every individual, and I'm sure they're lessons that she has learned. And so, yeah, no, I'm not joining that pile-on.
But I mentioned last week that one of the Liberal Party members helping out on Deves' campaign in Warringah is Bridie Nolan, a successful barrister, long-time Liberal Party member and inveterate campaign activist, who also happens to be married to Zali Steggall's former husband, David Cameron. At the last campaign, Nolan, Steggall and Cameron were caught up in a political spat on Twitter that was pretty unseemly. But incredibly now, it seems that Steggall thinks she can tell another woman whether or not she should be allowed to get involved in politics, based solely on who she happens to be married to. It's astounding, really, and at the taxpayer-funded ABC that normally supports feminist causes and reforms, they seem to accept this attitude. Have a listen.
Katherine Deves has employed your ex-husband's wife as a campaign advisor. Do you see that as a deliberately provocative move by your opponent?
Look, I think it's either a deliberately provocative move by either the person in question or my opponent. I think at the end of the day, where my primary concern is, it makes it incredibly difficult for my children, and I think family and extended family, especially in separated situations, should not be involved in this way. So I think it comes back to the moral compass and integrity and the values of Ms Deves and the Liberal Party to think that that's okay, because I think that sets a new low.
Good Lord, this is a new low for the Liberal Party and for Deves? It's extraordinary, because a woman is exercising her right to be involved in politics. What I reckon is a new low is one person believing they are so superior, so entitled, that they can tell another person what politics they're allowed to get involved in. This is anti-democratic, illiberal, intolerant, and it injects a new level of personal animosity into this Warringah campaign. For the record, the sort of campaign assistance that Bridie Nolan is involved in isn't paid. It's volunteer work for the Liberal Party and the candidate, in this case, her friend Katherine Deves. The sort of voluntary work being done in 151 seats right around the country right now. But apparently, if you're thinking about volunteering in Warringah for any party, you need to check in with Zali Steggall first to make sure she thinks it's okay for you to exercise your own democratic rights in her electorate. And what about this? In her interview on Sky News this morning with my colleague Laura Jays, is Steggall saying that parents who are worried about their little girls lining up against biological males are transphobic?
With respect, this is just not an issue. And saying that parents will be concerned is just repeating I think a transphobia line. There is
So do you think some concern about parents is transphobic? That's not fair, is it?
No, but it is, because we are talking about a minority of the population that is already incredibly vulnerable. At elite level, it is so rare. You have not got this rush of events where it's happened.
Really? We're actually talking about a majority of the population, girls and women. I think most people, most parents can be and are sensible about this stuff without being transphobic. Clearly, Steggall is on the wrong side of this argument and Deves is on the side of common sense that most Australians would support. But as the Deves pylon proves, if you try to speak out about these issues, it triggers instant efforts to malign you, attack you and cancel you. Watch this space.